Keep on. Let this shit notify. Keep invoking this one. Yeah, I'm gonna let the room fill up a little bit, so bear with me. I'm gonna go. Just let the room fill up a little bit. Today I'm definitely late than usual. I'm just giving a couple of minutes, let the room fill up a little bit, because I don't want to keep repeating myself. But last week we was touching on how many people actually stay in touch with an ex, knowing it's wrong, and you still try to get involved with someone new in the process. The week before that was, do we create a safe space for your significant other that you're dealing with? This week we're going to touch on why would people stay in abusive relationships. And what I mean by abusive, this goes for either or. It's not a specific sex, right? Because it could be a verbal, it could be a physical, and it could be emotional. So, like I said, last week we were talking about creating a safe space. No, last week was about how many people actually stay in touch with a person from your past. You stay in touch with someone that you have emotional attachment still. You still have that chemistry and connection, and you still are drawn to this person. But yet you're getting involved in someone new. And here you are trying to evolve, grow into something new, but you're still holding on to the past. On top of that, you get involved with someone trying to start something new, and you're already on the wrong foot too. Do you even create a safe space for that significant other without judgment? And today made it. It's about why do we stay in abusive relationships? Emotional, verbal, or physical, which that happens to either or person. I believe why some people stay in an abusive relationship, because low self-esteem is the one. No self-worth. You don't feel worthy of. You don't feel worthy of someone loving you, so you just stay with whatever crosses your path. Low self-esteem, people will just walk all over you and use you as a carpet. Self-worth, you don't know the value of your true self, right? You don't know how valuable you are, the essence of you. And here, you allow someone to mistreat you, physically abuse you, verbally abuse you, and emotionally damage you, which creates trauma bonding, codependency. It's another sign of no self-respect. It's another thing that what you're familiar with. Toxic patterns. It's what you've seen growing up, so it's familiar, right? That's verbal and mental abuse, emotional abuse, and devaluing and degrading. So why is it that people stay in relationships where people are abused in their relationships? I believe low self-esteem is the first one. Like that says a lot about a person. If you allow someone to mistreat you, disrespect you, and the first sign that a man interprets as love is respect. A woman needs emotional feeling. She needs to be loved, right? But a guy, his interpretation of love is respect. That's true. No self-love, no self-respect, no self-worth. You don't know your worth. And people are used to it, so they stay in something that they're familiar with. It's what they've seen growing up. So it's something that they're familiar with, so it's something that's repetitive. It's something that they just think that it's normal. I'll say a story, right? I think there was one time where someone I was dealing with had verbally attacked me personally, right? And said something like, I must be, how can I say this in the most cleanest way, right? I must be doing oral sex to a friend of mine. Mind you, this is a guy. I'm nowhere near that type. That's not my thing. I like women. So I told her, yo, slow your roll. Don't talk to me like that. Be careful how you speak to me. One, I'm taking a stand. Respect me. Two, she said it again. I said, listen, do me a favor. Don't talk to me in that manner. Wait, hello. Don't talk to me in that manner. She said it the third time. She was living in my house at the time. I told her, pack your things and get out. I'm not tolerating that. So that's when you start to realize your worth. You start to realize the value that you bring into any relationship. And you don't tolerate someone to either disrespect you or violate you in any type of way. I'm not one that I'm not tolerating that. But a lot of men would stay and allow it because either beauty, insecurity, low self-esteem, no self-worth, feeling you're not worthy of love. So you feel like you're not worthy of it. So you have to allow someone to treat you. Hello? You allow someone to mistreat you and to disrespect you, and you feel like there's no one else that's going to be able to replace what you got in the palm of your hands at the moment. It may seem like that, but once something exits, something will always come better. This is where this is where a lot of people fail and live their life in fear. Personally, when you're alone is when you find the most peace. You find who you truly are. You discover a lot about yourself when you spend that time alone. Thank you. It's in the background as well. I just realized that. My question is, why do people stay in relationships that are abusive relationships? Like, I want to see someone that's actually living that life. What is your excuse? What is your validation? What is your What can you how can you just say that, yeah, I'm allowing that to happen? Yeah, that's a choice. Yeah, but when you live that, that's something that comes with experience because you don't know any better. You're learning through the process. Either it's something that you experienced as a child, so you don't know, right? Chaos can be familiar. That causes trauma. And that causes trauma. That causes codependency. The codependency starts leading into trauma bonding, right? Is the one I was talking about. Is No, it's the only one. It's what you're familiar with when it comes to, like, maybe you saw that growing up. Maybe you saw your mom and your dad, or stepdad or stepmom, whatever the case may be. It's something that you've seen and then you witnessed, and you think that's normal. Common sense would tell you it's not normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what's right and wrong, but it seems like you get blindsided, right? Yeah, true. No one. But how else will you learn, right? If you don't fail, how else will you learn? How would you know what's right from wrong? Like, think about that. If you don't like to fail, how would you ever learn how to succeed? Because first you have to fail in order to learn something, to progress, to elevate, and to be promoted and rise higher. Through my failures is where I learned the most. But the thing is, like someone would say, I know you. I don't take those are as failures now. I take them as learning. I'm learning and evolving, and I'm growing from my mistakes. If a parent doesn't see, okay, as far as the parent goes and the healthy, hold on. I try to teach my daughter, she's under a roof where it's toxic, it's not normal, it's, and I try to, at least she has some type of common sense. So in a sense, I try to be the normal, sane father, right? I try to be a role model. I try to be an example. I try to open up her mind, and I don't try to speak bad about their situation. I just say, that's not right, mommy. Or I'll just explain to her sometimes. I'll just be like, when you grow up, don't think that that's normal. That's not normal. That's not healthy. That's something that you don't need to put up with. If someone mistreats you in some type of way, value yourself and know your worth. You don't need to be treated or mistreated by someone you think or call that loves you or you love them. Love is a feeling. Love, to some people, it's a feeling, which is temporary, right? It's like a storm. It comes and goes. Real love is a choice. It's something that you decide to do on a regular day basis, and you stick it out no matter what. Rain, sleet, hail, storm, rich or poor. You stick to that person. If that person is willing to be there for you, that's real love. Thick and thin. Someone that supports you through your highs and lows. That's love. Someone who's encouraged you and believes in you and stands by you, even if it's someone who's either in a relationship, friendship, whatever. Everything, when it comes to people, you will always find a sense. You're always in a relationship, whether if it's a friendship, someone you cool, you talk to, you communicate. It's a relationship. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're in a relationship in the sense of you're in love with this person. It's having a healthy friendship. Still, at the end of the day, it's a relationship. Um, but my thing is, like, not just emotion. Yeah, that's why I said it's verbal, physical, or emotional. Thank you for stopping by, Jessica. Sorry. I always try to short change people's names. Sorry, it's a habit. Um, but the three things to me that stand out is emotional, physical, and verbal abuse. Right? So if you verbally are being mistreated, spoken down, degraded, devalued, you got to start to realize your worth. You got to understand who you truly are. You got to understand what you bring to the table. You got to, if someone is mistreating you like you have no value, you're trash, then you should know automatically that you're worth more than that. And, excuse me, last week, what happened to the live was I had said something that got me banned for the week. That's why I came on late, by the way. Healing is a journey, healing is a process, and healing is a constant. You're never going to be fully healed, right? You're always in a journey. You're always learning. You're always evolving because you never know everything. As much, if I showed you my library right now, you would be like, wow. But at the same time, I don't feel like I know anything. I just try to speak from experience for the most part and give you an example from my experience. I'm not going to speak on something that I have not personally gone through, because then it's just my imagination, right? But I speak on from personal experiences, from my heart, and from my spirit. If I tell you my dark side of the story, right? The 24 times I almost died. Everything is a learning process. That's how knowledge and the experience. Yes. Yeah. You're right. Gold, heart of gold, sorry. That's 100%. But from my personal experiences, I almost died. I dodged that bullet and death 23 times. And you don't hear me talk about that. I don't go there. I don't try to glorify that, because that's not my goal. That's not my mission. That's not where I feel like that's significant or important to me, because that's my past. My past shouldn't be constantly be evolving with my growth or my present or my future. Like, it's where it was. Yeah, there will be a time and there will be a space and there will be a moment where I will bring those multiple stories up. But my thing is this. I'm just trying to focus on why do we stay in relationships where people are verbally, emotionally, or physically abusing us? Like, what is it that keeps a person there constantly, repetitively, right? Because to go through it once, you learn, you see, and you say, wait. You put your foot down and you're like, nah, I'm not going to deal with this. It's one thing. It's another thing when you continue to allow it. Wait a minute. You got to start to see the patterns. You got to start to realize your worth. You got to realize who you are. Do you love yourself is the first thing. Yeah, that's why I said there will be a time where, that's part of the story, right? How did I get from where I was to the mindset and to how I evolved to today? My journey is 18 years long. My belief, besides God, I feel like the gym saved my life. Sometimes it's because people are terrified that way. Well, I ain't say it that way, just Jessica. People gotta learn. But that's when you start to condition your mind. You start to condition your way of thinking when you feel like you don't deserve better. You start to put a narrative in your head and think you need this person's approval, you need this person's validation, and then that's where you feel like your worth comes from someone else. But you're putting that power in someone else's hand. That's too much power to give away. because you have control over the life you create, and that person is supposed that coexists with you into that life you're trying to create, like that vision. For a man or for a woman, it's either you I it's coming in blurry for me. Yes. What's good? Um what I was saying. All right, for example, I'm in the mix of, let me just show y'all, cuz I know y'all hear about me reading all the time. Last time I was reading that Convoluted of the Universe, if I'm not mistaken, and that was 500 pages of torture, I say, but it was a lot of valuable information, and it's something that opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't know. And I feel like there's so much value in books that we take it for granted and don't do the homework. We don't do the research. We don't look to investigate, because a book is actually an investment for your mind, for your soul, for it. But to put the things into practice is another thing, right? Because knowledge is so much power, but it's what you put, what did you learn from it that you put into practice makes it powerful. That's what they don't tell you, right? Like they always tell you knowledge is power, but there's that one little missing bracket, that element. Knowledge is power when you put it into practice from what you learned. And that becomes the unlocking, the treasure hunting. That's when you start to discover stuff, elements and parts of yourself where you start to get a breakthrough. You start to see the magic in life. You start to see who you truly are and worth. And you start to understand more about yourself. So, like I was saying, I'm currently reading this, right? The Shadow Work. I know multiple of you've seen it. And what I've realized, like a lot of in the writings and the notes, this is my first book that I write in over 18 years. It's the first book that I wrote in. And I said to myself, I'm gonna just treat this like if I didn't care about it, but I'm gonna go hard on it. And I realized, and I don't know cocky shit. And I don't know cocky shit. Please don't misinterpret what I'm about to say. What I've noticed from where I came from to where I am today, my confidence level is up the roof, and not in no arrogant way. Because it's never me against you. It's always me against me. It's me versus me. I'm always trying to evolve and become the best version of myself continuously. I'm always in competition of the person I was yesterday to be better today. Right? Talk about one's shadow self. It actually, I don't know, because I'm only on chapter 2. And on chapter 2, it actually has a whole bunch of different, like it'll say fear. Like it'll be titled fear. And then it gives you examples of where it's trying to make you discover areas of yourself where you find yourself, where you face fear at, for example. And then you got to break it down, because it gives you a whole page and a whole nother page, half a page and a whole nother page. So you could just keep writing. And if you notice, if you're a person who writes your thoughts on paper and you're able to visualize, you'll see that as you're writing, the thoughts that you actually think gets poured onto this paper and are verbal. Your imagination is going off. As your mind is going off, your subconscious mind is speaking through the pen. As your subconscious mind, you start to realize areas that you're weak in personally. As you start to see these are deciphered. This is how you decipher and decode areas of where you need improvement and need to work on. One of the first things I learned in a book called Forgiveness by Joyce Meyer. In this book, I had just left my daughter's mom, I believe. Or I was going through a divorce at the time. Either one of those two. And it said to write a forgiveness letter. So individually, Not just put everybody's name in this one letter. It's an individual letter to, like, let's say, I'm gonna use an example is Jessica. You have to write all the negative emotions first on top. Release all that negative, right? All that negative emotions. I hate you, I can't stand you, I hate you because, but why do you hate this person? Then you start to see things, right? You start to realize, do I really hate this person, or I don't like certain characteristics about this person. I don't really hate the person. I hate the way they treat me. I hate the way they speak to me. So then you start to realize, oh, they do this out. This is when you start to realize it becomes, this is their nature. This is their habit. This is what they know. This is all they know. This is what they were brought up under a roof, and it's their way of communication. So at the end of the day, you're able to release and forgive and forget and dismiss and say, I release you in love. That's the way you end the letter, right? So at the end of the letter, it was like, I release you in love. You're able to release these negative emotions because, remember, you hold on to these, they're like anchors, and they hold you back from ever evolving and growing into the best version of yourself. If you allow that, then you're only hindering yourself from ever going into your destiny, your promise, and seeing the fullness, higher version, higher self of yourself, right? So I work continuously. I'm always on a new book. And I feel like it's important for me because I didn't have no guidance to teach me, hey, by the way, this is how you do things. Nobody gave me a blueprint. Nobody gave me information. The most, my mom plays a big part. Yeah, Jojo. Excuse me. My mom plays a big part in my story, right? Obviously. She taught me a lot of principles when it comes to women. She told me if I'm gonna be dealing or dating multiple women, to let them all know. Don't decide for them. Let them decide for themselves. Let them choose if they want to stick with you, if they want to stay with you, if they want to continue and just. She goes, the one thing they will all do, they'll respect you. They'll respect you more because you were open and honest enough to tell them the situation you just actually placed them in. And this is totally off topic, right? So there was a time I flew out to LA. My mom is in LA. I'm in New York. I flew out to LA. I seen my mom. I had just got laid off for this job because I didn't take a promotion. That's another story within itself. So I didn't take the promotion, so I got terminated because I didn't take a promotion. I denied a promotion. I flew out to LA to see my mom for like 2 or 3 weeks. While I was out there, she tells me about this book. I know all of you guys heard of this book, The Secret. So she tells me about The Secret. When I read The Secret, I buy it. She takes me to Target. I remember we went to Target, and the book was, I believe it was like $20 at the time, or 15, something like that. It was like 20% off. Target always has a discount thing going on. Anyway, I grabbed the book. It was something that I connected. I can't explain it. The book spoke to me without reading it. Just the title itself, the book, the energy of the book spoke to me personally. I felt connected to the book. I don't know if it's my spirit guides or my spirit, my soul, but it connected with the book like a magnet. I knew to buy it. My mom was like, I'm not going to buy it for you because you're not going to value The Secret. She was like, you're not going to value it if I buy it. It becomes valuable to you if you buy it with your own money because you know the worth of it, right? So I ended up buying The Secret. I read the whole book. Every emotion it teaches you to feel and connect with, I did all the exercises. But I felt like there was more. So if you look at the bottom of each page, she takes parts of the book of a certain paragraph or phrases and things that are in there, and she'll tell you it. She got it from Ernest Holmes, Catherine Ponder, one of my favorite authors, Mike Dooley, Notes from the Universe. So all these books that I'm calling out, I've read them, I got them, right? I just literally got Notes from the Universe from my daughter. I had her reading. I have it in 3 volumes. It's volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. It's a whole like a series collection, right? So she was drawn to it, and I had her every time she'll come over. I was telling her grab a book, and I pointed it out to her, and she just connected with the book, and she was reading it. Anyway, Notes from the Universe is kind of a reflection. It's kind of like my idea of how I started to write my books, my writings. I don't share those with people yet, because when that opportunity actually does come, it's going to be a brand. It's not going to just be book. It's not going to be just clothing. It's going to be videos. It's not going to be inspirational. It's not going to just be videos. It's not just going to be albums, because I take my writing and I actually put a beat behind it, kind of like what I do with the videos now. And I try to speak life into people's mind, hearts, and souls. But anyway, that secret, it was the breakthrough. It was the ground zero. It was the groundbreaking, and it taught me so much. And you learn that you're worth so much more. And going back to, why do we allow someone to mistreat us and stay in an abusive relationship, whether it be verbal abuse, it could be emotional abuse, it could be physical abuse. But what you're doing is you're allowing someone to degrade you. You're allowing someone to devalue you, to emotionally, physically, mentally abuse you. Those are all like toxic traits, right? Because you're being degraded, you're not being valued. Now your worth is just like going out the window. But I don't want to go on down that dark side. Nah, man, there's too many memories in that. It took a lot to put. Remember, I always tell y'all and I expose this to the public. I have no shame in this. I have no patience, and I have a short temper. My temper don't even have a clock. It just ticks, boom, that's it. My patience is almost the same. And there are examples and times where I have situations which usually will be in the gym, right? For me, because that's my playground. And a lot of times I feel like people don't take the gym serious the way I was brought up in a gym. I was brought up in a hardcore gym where there was no females. It was just straight men. It was like literally being in jail. And we used to call it the yard. And then Richie's, anyone familiar with Richie's gym in Brooklyn, a lot of guys even from the Bronx would travel from the Bronx to come to Richie's gym to work out, because it was like being in jail. The environment, the energy, the principles, the gym etiquettes. There's so much things that go into a gym. The mentality, the mindset, the principles. It's so much. You learn the etiquettes when it comes to a gym, right? It's more than just picking up weights. That's what I started to work out. Honestly, I always wanted to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then the attention the females he got from the females, right? That was one of the reasons why I got in there. In the very beginning, we're talking about an 18-year journey. And the reason why I'm so passionate about the gym, number one, it saved my life. It kept me out of trouble for 18 years. Now let's think about a short-tempered, impatient individual. Picture me in a scenario outside in the street. What do you think is going to happen? 23 times I dodged those bullets. 23 times I dodged death. 23 times I came into so many scenarios, man. So I had to put myself in an environment to save my life somehow, some way, to escape, to disconnect, to unplug from the chaos of the streets. Most people, I've seen a lot of them just end up in jail. I've seen a lot of people end up locked up. I've seen a lot of people die. I've seen a lot of friends go. And I'm talking about at the age of, I seen the first encounter of death was at 8. That was a family member. And then from there going forward, I saw a friend of mine who got shot in the back. And the year before, I was with him, hanging out. This was in LA. And me and him, we didn't come home for 4 days. We went to some carnival, hung out. Mind you, I'm only 11 years old at the time. My mom thinks I ran away from home. She gets a phone call from the morgue. She has to go identify a body. The kid got ran over by a train. They told her she has to go get his dental records, meaning me. You need to get your son's dental records in order to identify the body and see if this is him or not, because she was like, I can't make out if it's him or not. She's looking at a dead body, a kid crushed by a train. And I don't know why I'm speaking on the dark side though. So that Sunday, finally came back home. She tells me, go to your room. My mom, I swear to God, knowing my mom, she'll beat the life out of me. When she did not beat the life out of me, I felt like something was wrong. I was like, wait a minute. Why she didn't hit me? You know, you mentally programmed, you brainwashed to think that's the way you get attention, or that's where you're going to get reprimanded, you're going to be disciplined, it's going to get your ass kicked. Or I got my ass kicked for a very long time. And that was part of my frustration of why I would go to the street and get into other situations, which didn't make a lot of China. These are a lot of this is just one story for an example of my life as an 11-year-old. And it's sad because this guy named Zach, he was my best friend, and I'm still here standing, and he passed away at 12 years old. And seeing a friend of mine, to think today that could have been me more than 30 something years ago. This kid was only 12 years old when he died. 12, 13, the latest, the oldest. And I never thought I was going to see past 24, 25, the oldest. Here I am, 45, 25 years, 20 years later from the date that I thought that I would never see. And I outlived and outnumbered the years that I thought I would have been past and gone. Because when you see death so much and you see your friends, close friends, pass away before you, it starts to get like, hold on, this is getting too close to home now. Am I up? Is my number up? And you start to think these things and feel like, am I really blessed? Am I lucky? Why is it okay for me to be here and someone else is not? So there's a lot of things that come with that too, you know. It's sad though. Sorry about that. But it's a little disturbing on it, you know, when you see that, when you see your friends just pass away. And the kid he was with got shot as well and killed. That other kid would have been me. So this is the reason why I go hard in whatever I do. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So you will know that I will always give my all into whatever that I do. And I take things I'm very passionate and very goal oriented when it comes to anything, especially in the gym, especially in my writing, especially in these videos that I put out. Sometimes I don't feel like it's the organic version of me. Sometimes I don't feel like it's my true essence. You know what I'm saying? Like the organic authenticity me. But I will always speak from my heart. And if any emotions and tears come out of me, it ain't fake. It comes from a deep place. Many traumas, many wounds, many dark trials and tribulations and hurdles that I have overcome and conquered. And I feel like my biggest challenge right now is between patience and my temper. But I feel like my next one is going to be the family generational curses that I have to break, right? And I think those two are two main ones because it's in the family as well. It's the temper is in there in the family. It's the patience is in there in the family that we don't have it. And I got to be the one to break that barrier. And God knows how long that shit's been going on in this bloodline, right? Because it runs through my veins. It becomes part of your spirit. And it becomes a part of the way you think. So you have to unlearn, to unteach something that you believe that is true and is part of you. It might be in my DNA, but it ain't me. It's going to control me. And this is when you learn how to decipher these codes and realize who you truly are. Because once you connect with that essence of you, you're going to see something different and realize your worth. And then again, it comes back to why do we stay in relationships that are abusive? Why do we allow others to mistreat us, to misspeak to us, to like devalue you, degrade you, emotionally damage you and they traumatize. Some people go through a lot of trauma being in relationships. So it's like, yo, and at the same time, for me, I'm out that box 4 years now. I have not been in a relationship in 4 years. So for me, I'll choose peace rather than being in a relationship, to be honest with you. The peace is essential. Peace is so valuable. It's so important. If you don't add peace to my life, I'd rather just stay single. Like, I don't need the drama. I don't need the headache. I don't need the problems. I don't need any of that. Like, you could keep your trauma to yourself. Like, that's irrelevant. I work so hard to be in peace, and yet someone else is gonna just come and just bring a hurricane and a tornado and an earthquake all at the same time. Like, yo, slow down, man. I don't need it. I don't need that drama. I don't need that problem. I don't need that. Like, I got my own things that I deal with personally already, like I said. Patience and my temper. Excuse me. If I got a little emotional there, a little teary-eyed, excuse me. Like, yeah, those who've seen in the past, I'm not afraid to show a tear. I'm not afraid to show emotion. Like, that human. I'm not Superman and I'm not Batman. I'm not trying to be like I'm the villain either, right? But I go through things too. But anyway, do you have more patience? Do I? Those are the ones that I have the less patience for, because I feel like you know me, who I am, and how I am. Don't trigger the patience, because that trigger goes off, right? Like, I can be And it doesn't come from a harmful place, right? It comes from a almost like a reprimanding place. It's almost like you know better, and I'm coming. That's how I'm coming, right? When it comes to the gym, look, for example, this happened just this week, and I'm proud of this one. This one's a win. This is a victory for me. Um, I was using the back machine. We were using. It was two of us, me and a friend. We were using the back machine and the tricep machine. I was doing the bicep. No, okay, rewind. I was using the back machine, but I was using it for bicep, and I was using the stand up to do for bicep. Excuse me. So I'm using two machines. As my friend is on one, I'm on the other. I'm going back and forth. This gentleman comes. He says, "You're using that." He sees me standing in front of the machine, literally with one hand on the tool, and I looked at him. I said, "I'm gonna let you process your question before I speak." So he asked me again, "Are you using the machine?" And I slowly answered. I took a deep breath and I said, "Yes." He goes, "Why are you looking at me like that?" I said, "How am I looking at you, and why are you being taking it to offense? Did I say anything wrong to offend you that you feel offended? Or how are you interpreting my answer to you?" He's like, I said, "Okay, here comes the insecurities in a man. Here comes the jealousy. Here comes you're intimidated by. That's not my problem. That's not my issue. These are things you need to deal with." But anyway, I just said, "You know what? I'm not gonna let him take my power away. I'm gonna stay in control of the situation." And I just kept working out, like whatever. And he stood there a couple of feet away, but watching. So then me and my friend finally finished. And then I went to use the machine literally next to it. As we're doing back on the other side, he gets it. I let him take it like what he wanted to do. And he starts slamming the weights. I said, "Yeah, you definitely intimidated, my man, because you want attention. I'm not going to give you attention. Number one, you're not a female. Why should I give you attention? You're a man like myself. You don't have anything that I'm attracted to, so let's start with that. Keep your distance, my man. Your low vibrational energies does not affect me. I'm up here, you're down here. Hello." And I said, "Eagles don't ruffle their feathers with crows, so you're irrelevant." And I just had to laugh it off, because usually, if you know me, I would entertain it. And I'm always down to put my hands up in and just go there. Like, who cares, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm always down for a brawl. Always down for a brawl. I love to fight. I've learned to tame and control myself to not fight. So now I take a lot of that frustration, a lot of that energy, a lot of that. I drain myself in the gym, so I don't have to have that energy when I leave the gym. I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. I want to fight. It's more like, yo, you win, man. I just killed myself in the gym. I can't fight you. I'll be a fool if I fight you. I just did 3 hours of a gym, and here you are full of energy. You think it's going to take a lot to take down a giant, but there's a good opportunity that you might get the win, but you ain't going to get the win. Not with me. I'm not going to stop. I don't know. I get a second wind every time, so I don't know how I do it, but this energy just comes out of me. But anyway, that was my win for the week. And there's times that I'm still learning. I still mess up. Right after that, literally right after that, my grandmother was trying to dictate to me. I went to stop by to see her for a little bit, and she tried to dictate to do something. And I kind of like let loose on her. So I don't know if I was bringing that energy from the gym with me, or she kind of like knows how to trigger me, and I allowed her to take control of me. You know, it's always our closest ones to you that know how to push your buttons and push your triggers, right? Because they know you better. Do you allow them to manipulate and control you? Do you? So you always gotta acknowledge and see your eyes open. That's probably why, right? Hello, hello, D. I think that's what I went to sleep with, thinking that the energy of this person that I dismissed got kind of like sprinkled on me per se, and I allowed it to take control of me. Oh no, it took a lot to learn that lesson right there, right? Not to let someone take me out of character. It's a lot of growth for me, because when you don't know nothing else, you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to articulate, you don't know how to express yourself, and you don't have the vocabulary, you don't have the information of how to release what you want to say. The only other way you know how to release is through your hands. And that was my way of expression of saying, I'm frustrated and I'm going to take you down one way or another. And I'm glad I'm not that vicious person anymore. I'm glad I don't allow that shit to happen and take control of me. I'm glad I've tamed that Hulk. It was random, Remy. It was, I didn't know if I was gonna, Soraya didn't come over. Supposedly she feels a little sick, and I was like, yo, you ain't coming to my house, man. You sick? Last week, I had got that stomach virus, and we're not doing that again. I told her, nah, man, I don't want no parts of y'all sicknesses from your mom's house. Please, disregard, dismiss, and reevaluate yourself from me, from my presence. Some of you. So just a heads up, I don't know if I'm gonna do live next week. I'm gonna be out of the country for 11 days and might not do a live depending on what's going on. I don't know my situation status being out of town. But let's see how things play out and see how things go. But to end this live, I'm about to with, why do we allow some people, why do we allow ourselves to be in an abusive relationship? Why do we allow ourselves to stay in something that we know that is not healthy for you mentally, emotionally, physically? If they physically are putting hands on you, that's automatic, right? Because I see it like this. I try to teach or inform because I have a daughter. So I see this more like a practice, preparation. So when I have that conversation with my daughter, I have the language, the experience, the examples, and I have the principles all lined up. And it's in preparation for her own future, right? So if I could help someone in the mix, in the process of what I learned, more power to whoever take flight with this. But I don't know if I'm gonna be on live next week. So see what happens. Keep y'all posted. Again, verbal, physical, emotional abuse is not to be part of your aura, right? It shouldn't be part of your aura. It shouldn't be part of your existence. It shouldn't be part of what you have to deal with when dealing with someone. We're allowing someone else to have power over us. It's not what we need to be doing. Sorry, I'm a little bothered by the story I had to say to you guys. As far as when my friend passed away at 11 years old, 12 years old, sorry. That still bothers me to this day. That was a close friend of mine, and it bothers still to this day. You know, no matter how long someone passed, you never get over it. Really, it's more like you get stronger as you grow. But I see it as I gained a personal angel behind that. Other people see it as a mourning, and death is a bad thing, but death can always be looked at it with different eyes, a different set of eyes. You'll see things from different perspective, and you always got to see it as a celebration. They've been promoted to evolve into a new dimension. That's something totally different than what now I'm going into my deep side. It's time to disconnect, because if not, then this is going to get a little too deep and a little too out of off topic. I'm not trying to get off topic, but I'm about to cut this off. Thank you for everybody who always comes, shows love. Thank you for everybody that's always been supportive. Thank you for everybody that always comes and spend a little time. And you don't have to, but you do. Some of you decide to be continuous visitors and supporters. Good night, Remy. And some of you've always been supportive. Some are new. And at the end of the day, just want to say thank you to everybody. Good night, V. Everybody enjoy y'all weekend. This is my last weekend in New York. For a few, be gone for a little bit, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do another live until I get back. So I don't know. Thank you. As far as my daughter's 10 years old. That kid got shot when he was 12. So this is why it bothers me. And I was once that age. But not to get emotional tonight. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. No tears tonight. It's not about being sad. It's about celebrating. Every day above ground is a celebration. Every day above ground. Every day you get to see and open your eyes, and you can walk and still talk, and you're not under a machine. You're good. Sometimes we take the little things for granted, and you're worried or you focus on what someone else has because you don't have it, right? But you got to start changing the vibration of your energy and start elevating it and desiring and seeing yourself. You got to see yourself visualizing, and then you got to start taking action to move towards that to make it happen. And you will start to see the opportunities be presented before you if you take the risk. The greater the risk, the greater the return. When you start to explore the unknown is when you start to see the magic, and it's when you start to see the miracles take place. Me being that I'm naturally a daredevil, I'm exploring. I'm gonna take those risks, and I'm gonna continuously live my life on the edge wherever I go. This is why. But anyway, let me get off before I get off topic and I go ramping on my mouth too much. But everybody, thank you for coming. Thank you for support. Thank you for always showing love with the likes. Thank you for always making your little comments. And if there's ever a topic that y'all feel like y'all may want me to touch on, feel free to, like, I'm not antisocial. I'm not an asshole, right? Like, I'm a free spirit, and I'm not judgmental. Like, I'm more than willing to listen to your story. But anyway, everybody else, you guys enjoy your evening, your weekend, and thank you for coming again. Good night.